Hey there, friends. Picture this, it's a bright, sunny afternoon, and a big plane is getting ready to take off. People are chatting, stuffing their bags into little overhead bins, and finding their seats. The plane is alive with noise, kids giggling, adults talking, and the hum of engines warming up. Everyone's excited for the long flight ahead. Well, almost everyone. In the middle of all this hustle and bustle sits a quiet, older man named Mr. James Carter. He's not loud or pushy like some of the others. No, he's calm and still, like a peaceful lake on a sunny day. His eyes are kind, and when he smiles, it's soft and warm, like he's got a little secret he's keeping to himself. He's wearing an old jacket, not fancy, but special. On it, there are a few tiny pins, shiny little medals from a long time ago when he was a brave soldier. Those pins tell a story, but most people don't even look twice. To them, he's just another old guy on the plane, someone boring and easy to forget. Now, let me tell you about Lisa. She's the flight attendant on this plane, and oh boy, she's something else. Lisa's got a loud voice and a sharp way of talking that cuts through the air like a knife. She's always rushing around, telling people to sit down, buckle up, or move faster. If you slow her down even a little bit, watch out. She'll snap at you quicker than a hungry dog snatches a bone. Lisa doesn't have time for anyone who gets in her way, and she sure doesn't have time for Mr. Carter. To her, he's just a slow old man who's probably going to ask for something silly like extra peanuts or a blanket. She doesn't see the pins on his jacket. She doesn't care about his gentle smile. Nope, Lisa's too busy being bossy to notice anything special about him. But here's the thing, she's got no idea who he really is. Mr. Carter isn't just some regular passenger. Oh no, he's got a secret so huge, so amazing, that it's going to turn Lisa's whole world upside down. But don't worry, I won't spill it yet. You've got to stick with me, because this story's just getting started. Let's rewind a bit and imagine that sunny afternoon some more. The plane's windows let in golden light, and outside, you can see workers in bright vests running around, loading bags and checking the wings. Inside, the seats are filling up fast. There's a mom with a wiggly toddler who keeps dropping his toy car. There's a guy in a suit, tapping away on his laptop like he's super important. And then there's Mr. Carter, sitting by the window in row 12, seat A. He's got a small bag tucked under his seat, just a plain little bag, nothing fancy. He doesn't fuss or complain like some of the others. He just sits there, looking out at the clouds building up in the sky, his hands resting quietly in his lap. If you watched him for a minute, you might wonder what he's thinking about. Maybe he's remembering the days when he wore a soldier's uniform instead of that old jacket. Maybe he's thinking about someone special waiting for him when the plane lands. Or maybe, just maybe, he's thinking about what's going to happen on this flight. Because something big is coming, and Mr. Carter knows it's only a matter of time. Now, let's talk about Lisa again. She's marching up and down the aisle, her shoes clicking loud on the floor. Her hair's pulled back tight, and her uniform is crisp and neat, but her face? It's all scrunched up like she just bit into a sour lemon. She's barking orders left and right. Put your bag up here. No, not there, here. Hurry up, we're taking off soon. People jump when she talks, scared to make her mad. Lisa likes being in charge, and she's good at it, maybe too good. When she passes Mr. Carter, she barely glances at him. He's just another face in the crowd, another person she'll boss around if he dares to ask for anything. But Mr. Carter doesn't say a word yet. He's too smart for that. He's waiting, watching, letting Lisa think she's the queen of this plane. Oh, if she only knew what's coming. That secret he's hiding? It's like a ticking clock, and every second brings us closer to the moment everything changes. So, here's the fun part, I've got a question for you. Have you ever met someone who seemed totally normal, like just a regular person, but then bam, you found out they were super special? Maybe it was a quiet kid at school who turned out to be an amazing singer. Or maybe it was a neighbor who seemed boring but once saved someone's life. Think about it for a second. Did you ever guess they were more than they looked? Mr. Carter's like that. To Lisa and everyone else, he's just an old guy with a wrinkly face and a slow walk. But there's more to him, way more, and it's going to shock everyone on this plane. So, while you're thinking about your answer, let's keep going. I promise, this story's going to grab you and not let go. Picture Mr. Carter sitting there, all calm and cool. The plane's engines start to rumble, and the pilot's voice crackles over the speakers, saying something about the weather and how long the flight will be. Most people aren't really listening, they're too busy getting comfy or flipping through magazines. But Mr. Carter? He's paying attention. Not to the pilot, though. He's watching Lisa out of the corner of his eye. She's up front now, showing people how to buckle their seat belts, even though everyone already knows how. She's waving her arms and pointing at the exits, her voice loud and annoyed, like she'd rather be anywhere else. Mr. Carter doesn't flinch. He just adjusts his jacket a little, making sure those tiny pins catch the light. They're small, sure, but they mean something big. They mean he's been through tough stuff, wars, battles, things Lisa can't even imagine. And they're a clue, a little hint, that he's not as simple as he seems. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the whole plane. It's a big one, with rows and rows of seats stretching all the way back. The air smells like coffee and airplane food, and the overhead lights buzz just a tiny bit. People are settling in now. The toddlers finally stopped wiggling, the laptop guy's closed his computer, and an older lady a few rows up is knitting something pink. It's a normal flight, or at least it seems that way. But normal doesn't last long when Mr. Carter's around. See, he's not here by accident. He didn't just pick this plane because it was cheap or convenient. No, he's got a reason, a big, exciting reason, and it's tied to that secret I keep teasing you about. Lisa's strutting around like she owns the place, but she's about to find out she's not the boss she thinks she is. Someone else is in charge, someone connected to Mr. Carter, and when that truth comes out, oh boy, it's going to be wild. Let's slow down and imagine Mr. Carter's face for a minute. His skin's a little wrinkly, like a map of all the years he's lived. His hair's gray and thin, but it's neat, like he still takes pride in how he looks. Those kind eyes of his. They've seen a lot good stuff and hard stuff. Maybe they've seen friends he lost in battles long ago. Maybe they've seen happy days with his family. Whatever they've seen, they're steady now, not scared or nervous. That's important, because things are about to get bumpy, not just for the plane, but for Lisa, too. Mr. Carter's ready for it. He's been ready for a long time. He's not the type to make a fuss or shout. He's the type to wait, to watch, and then when the moment's right, to surprise everyone. Back to Lisa for a sec. She's done with her safety talk now and plops into a little jump seat up front, crossing her arms. She's muttering to herself, probably about how much she hates this job or how annoying passengers are. She's got no clue what's brewing just a few rows back. Mr. Carter's secret isn't something small, like he's got a famous cousin or he once won a prize. No, it's bigger than that, so big it's going to make Lisa wish she'd been nicer. Can you feel it building? That tingle of excitement? That's what I want you to hold onto, because this story's like a roller coaster. We're climbing up the first big hill right now, and soon, we're going to zoom down with twists and turns you won't believe. Let's think about that sunny afternoon one more time. The plane's taxiing now, rolling slowly toward the runway. Outside, the sky's turning a little orange as the sun dips lower. Inside, Mr. Carter pulls a tiny photo out of his pocket just for a second, so quick you'd miss it if you blinked. It's a picture of a woman, someone he loves. He smiles at it, then tucks it away. Who is she? Why is she so important? That's part of the secret, and it's a part that's going to make your jaw drop when we get there. For now, though, he's just a quiet old man with a gentle smile, sitting on a plane full of people who don't know his story. Lisa's up there, tapping her foot, ready to snap at the next person who dares to ask for something. She's got no idea she's about to pick a fight she can't win. So, friends, what do you think so far? Can you picture Mr. Carter in his seat, all calm and mysterious? Can you hear Lisa's sharp voice bouncing around the plane? This is just the beginning, the spark that lights the fire. We've got a long way to go, and every step's going to pull you in deeper. That question I asked about someone ordinary turning out to be extraordinary, keep it in your mind. Mr. Carter's got a surprise up his sleeve, and Lisa's about to learn it the hard way. Stick with me, because this sunny afternoon is about to turn into something no one on this plane will ever forget. Okay, friends, let's jump back into this wild story. The plane's still on the ground, engines humming, ready to take off any minute. Everyone's buckled in, flipping through magazines or staring out the windows at the sunny afternoon. It's all pretty normal except something's brewing, something big. Trouble's about to start, and it's all because of Mr. James Carter and Lisa, the grumpy flight attendant. Things are going to get bumpy, and not just because of the plane. So, grab your imaginary popcorn and stick with me, this part's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. The flight hadn't even taken off yet when the first spark of trouble popped up. Mr. Carter, that quiet old man with the kind eyes, needed a little help. His bag was small, but it was heavy for him, and he didn't want to bother anyone. So, he looked up at Lisa, who was marching down the aisle, and asked super politely, "Excuse me, miss, could you help me lift my bag up there?" His voice was soft, like a whisper on the wind, and he smiled that gentle smile of his. It wasn't a big deal, right? Just a tiny favor. Most people would say, sure, and give him a hand. But not Lisa. Oh no, not her. Lisa stopped dead in her tracks, turned her head slow like a creaky door, and stared at him. Her eyes got all narrow, like she was mad before he even finished talking. Then she rolled those eyes so hard you could almost hear them squeak. "Do it yourself, old man," she barked, her voice sharp and loud, cutting through the plane like a teacher yelling at a noisy class. "I'm not your servant." Whoa. People nearby sucked in their breath, gasp, shocked that she'd talk like that. A lady with glasses dropped her book. A kid with a toy truck peeked over his seat, eyes wide. But Lisa? She didn't care one bit. She tossed her head, flipped her ponytail, and strutted off down the aisle, her shoes going click 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 on the floor. As she walked away, she mumbled under her breath, stuff like, "Ugh, people who waste my time, and can't they just sit still?" She was acting like Mr. Carter had asked her to climb a mountain, not just lift a little bag. Now, let's talk about Mr. Carter for a sec. He didn't yell back. He didn't even frown. Nope, he stayed cool as a cucumber. He just reached down, grabbed his bag with those old, steady hands, and slid it under his seat instead. Then he fixed his jacket, the one with those shiny military pins, and sat back down. His face didn't show much. No anger, no sadness, nothing. It was like a blank page in a book. But if you looked real close, super close, like with a magnifying glass, you might have seen something. A tiny spark in his eyes, like a little fire starting to glow. It wasn't big, but it was there. What did it mean? Did he know something Lisa didn't? Was he planning something? Oh, you bet he was. But he wasn't going to show it yet. He was too smart for that. He just sat there, quiet as a mouse, letting Lisa think she'd won that round. The plane was buzzing now, not just with the engines, but with whispers. People leaned over to their neighbors, talking low. "Did you hear that?" one guy said, shaking his head. "She's so rude," a lady with a big hat whispered back. Everyone was watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The air felt thick, like before a storm rolls in. You could feel the tension building, like a rubber band stretched tight, ready to snap. Lisa didn't notice, though. She was too busy being annoyed, too busy thinking she was the boss of everything. She had no idea she'd just poked a sleeping bear, a bear with a secret that was going to wake up soon and roar. Let's fast forward a little. The plane's still on the ground, but the pilot's voice comes on, saying, "We'll be taking off soon, folks." People settle down, but Lisa? She's still on the move, still grumbling. A bit later, Mr. Carter tries again. He's thirsty, totally normal, right? So he pushes that little button above his seat, the one that lights up and calls for help. Ding. Lisa hears it and stomps over, her face all scrunched up like she smelled something bad. "What now?" she snaps, hands on her hips. Mr. Carter looks up, calm as ever, and says, "Could I have a glass of water, please?" Again, super polite, super nice. Anyone else would have smiled and said, "Sure thing." But Lisa? Nope. She huffed, loud and dramatic, like he'd asked for a whole swimming pool. She marched off to get the water, but you could tell she hated every step. When she came back, she didn't just set the cup down gently. Oh no, she slammed it on his tray so hard the water sloshed a little, spilling drops on the edge. "There," she said, her voice dripping with sass. Then she leaned in close and sneered, "What's next, a pillow? Geez, some people." It was like she wanted everyone to hear how annoyed she was. The tray wobbled from the slam, and a few more passengers turned to look. One guy muttered, "Wow, she's mean." A girl with braids shook her head, like she couldn't believe it. The tension was growing thicker now, like fog rolling over a field. You could almost touch it. But Mr. Carter? Still cool, still calm. He didn't spill a single word back at her. He just picked up the cup, took a slow sip, and set it down real gentle. Then he leaned back in his seat, watching her walk away. His face stayed blank, but that spark in his eyes? It flickered again, just a tiny bit brighter. He wasn't mad, not yet. He wasn't going to shout or fight. No, he was like a shadow, quiet and sneaky, waiting for the perfect moment. What was he thinking? Was he plotting something? Was he remembering something? You'll find out soon, I promise it's going to be so worth the wait. Let's paint the scene some more. The plane's full of people now, all strapped in tight. Outside, the sun's still shining, making the windows glow all golden. Inside, the lights are on, and the air smells like coffee and those little pretzel snacks they give out. Lisa's up front, flipping through a clipboard, acting like she's super busy. Every now and then, she glares down the aisle, daring anyone to push that call button again. She's got this look, like she's the queen and everyone else is just her pesky servants. But Mr. Carter's not buying it. He's sitting there in row 12, seat A, his jacket neat, his hands folded. He's not scared of her. He's not even annoyed. He's just watching. And that's what makes this so exciting. He's got something up his sleeve, and Lisa's walking right into it without a clue. The whispers keep going. A man with a beard says to his wife, "That lady needs to chill out." The wife nods and whispers back, "Poor old guy didn't do anything wrong." Across the aisle, a kid asks his mom, "Why's she so mad?" The mom shushes him, but you can tell she's wondering the same thing. Everyone's feeling it now. This isn't just a little argument. It's something bigger, something growing. Lisa's sharp words are like little rocks, piling up higher and higher. And Mr. Carter? He's the one holding the hammer, ready to smash that pile to bits when the time's right. But he's patient. He's not rushing. He's letting her dig her own hole, one mean comment at a time. Let's zoom in on Lisa for a minute. She's not having a good day, you can tell. Maybe she spilled coffee on her uniform earlier, or maybe she just hates her job. Whatever it is, she's taking it out on everyone, especially Mr. Carter. When she snapped at him about the bag, it wasn't just rude, it was loud enough for half the plane to hear. And that water slam? It was like a mini explosion, a big "I don't care" to the whole world. She's not quiet about being mean. She wants people to know she's in charge. But every time she talks like that, every time she rolls her eyes or sneers, she's making the tension thicker. It's like she's winding up a toy car, pulling it back further and further. Sooner or later, it's going to zoom forward and she's not going to like where it goes. Now, picture Mr. Carter again. He's got those little pins on his jacket, right? They're not just for show. They mean he's been brave, he's been tough, he's been through stuff Lisa can't even dream of. Wars, maybe. Long nights in the cold, far from home. He's not some weak old man who needs a servant, like she said. He's a hero, even if she doesn't see it. And that's the fun part. She's picking on the wrong guy, big time. Every mean word she throws at him is like a boomerang. It's going to come flying back and hit her hard. But Mr. Carter doesn't let on. He's too smart, too cool. He just sits there, sipping his water, letting her think she's winning. That spark in his eyes? It's growing, little by little, like a candle flame getting stronger. The plane's engines get louder now. The pilot says, "Okay, folks, here we go," and the whole thing starts to roll, slow at first, then faster. People lean back in their seats, excited or nervous or both. Lisa buckles into her jump seat up front, still muttering to herself. She's probably thinking, "Good, let's get this over with." She's got no idea what's coming. Mr. Carter's got no idea either, not about the plane, but about how this flight's going to change everything. The tension's so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. Passengers keep sneaking looks at him, then at her, wondering what's next. They don't know his secret yet, but they can feel something's off. Something's building. Something's about to happen. Let's slow down and imagine it all again. Lisa's mean words, "Do it yourself, old man," still hang in the air, like smoke that won't go away. The way she slammed that water down, the way she sneered, it stuck in everyone's heads. And Mr. Carter's quiet, steady calm? It's like the opposite of her loud, angry storm. He's not fighting back, not yet. He's letting her talk, letting her strut, letting her think she's the big shot. But that spark in his eyes, it's a clue. It's a hint. It's telling us he's not scared, not weak, not helpless. He's got something Lisa doesn't, something she can't even guess at. What is it? Oh, it's big, friends, so big it's going to flip this whole story upside down. But we're not there yet. We're still building, still stretching that rubber band, still winding that toy car. Trust me, it's worth the wait. So, here we are, the plane's rolling, the tension's thick, and Mr. Carter's waiting. Lisa's made her move, and it's a mean one. She's poked the bear, and she doesn't even know it. The passengers are watching, the whispers are spreading, and that spark in his eyes is glowing brighter. What's he thinking? What's he planning? You'll see soon, I swear it's going to be awesome. For now, just picture it, a sunny day, a big plane, a rude flight attendant, and a quiet old man with a secret. The storm's coming, and Lisa's right in the middle of it. Stick with me, because this is where the fun really starts. Hey, friends. We're back on this crazy plane ride, and things are heating up fast. The flight's been going for a while now, zooming through the sky with fluffy clouds outside the windows. Everyone's settled in, or at least they're trying to. But Lisa, that grumpy flight attendant? She's not making it easy. Her attitude's getting worse and worse, like a storm cloud growing bigger and darker. She's bossing everyone around, barking orders like a mean teacher on a bad day. Sit down. Put that away. Stop talking, she snaps at people left and right. Passengers roll their eyes or shrink in their seats, hoping she'll just walk past them. But there's one person she keeps picking on more than anyone else, Mr. James Carter, that quiet old man with the kind eyes and the military pins on his jacket. Uh-oh, Lisa's in for a surprise, but she doesn't know it yet. Let's dive in and see what happens next. This part's going to keep you glued to the story. So, picture this, the plane's flying high now, and Lisa's stomping up and down the aisle like she owns the whole thing. She's got her arms crossed half the time, and when they're not, she's pointing at people, telling them what to do. She yells at a guy for leaving his bag in the way. She scolds a lady for asking for more pretzels. She even tells a kid to stop kicking his seat. Okay, that one's fair, but she's still super loud about it. Everyone's getting tired of her, but Lisa doesn't care. She likes being in charge, and she's acting like the plane's her kingdom and she's the queen. But Mr. Carter? He's like her favorite target. She keeps coming back to him, picking on him over and over, like a bully who's found someone quiet to mess with. Maybe it's because he's so calm, so peaceful, and that bugs her. Maybe she just likes feeling big by making him feel small. Whatever it is, she's making a huge mistake and it's about to get wild. Let's zoom in on Mr. Carter for a minute. He's still sitting in row 12, seat A, looking out the window every now and then. The sun's dipping lower now, painting the sky all orange and pink. He's got his hands in his lap, his jacket neat, those tiny pins catching the light. He doesn't talk much, hardly at all, really. When Lisa snaps at him, he doesn't snap back. When she rolls her eyes, he doesn't glare. He's like a rock in a river, steady and still, while she's the water rushing around, loud and splashy. But every time she's mean to him, you can see that little spark in his eyes flicker. It's small, but it's there, like a secret he's holding tight. What's he thinking? Why's he so calm? Oh, friends, he's got something up his sleeve, and Lisa's walking right into it. The plane hits a bumpy patch, turbulence, they call it. The whole thing shakes a little, like a car on a rocky road. People grab their armrests, and a few say, "Whoa." The pilot comes on and says, "Just some bumps, folks, nothing to worry about." Most people relax, but not Mr. Carter's water. That cup Lisa slammed down earlier? It's still on his tray, and with all the shaking, it tips over splash, right onto the tray and a little on his pants. It's an accident, totally not his fault. He didn't mean to spill it, the plane did it. He grabs a napkin quick, trying to wipe it up, but Lisa's already on her way over. She's like a hawk, spotting trouble from a mile away, or maybe she's just looking for a reason to yell at him again. She storms down the aisle, her face turning red like a tomato. Her shoes go stomp stomp stomp, loud enough to wake a sleeping bear. When she gets to Mr. Carter, she stops and stares at the wet tray. "Look at this mess," she shouts, her voice booming through the plane. Everyone turns to look, heads popping up over seats, eyes wide. She points at the spill like it's the worst crime ever. "Can't you keep anything clean?" she yells, hands on her hips. Mr. Carter starts to say, it was the turbulence, but she cuts him off. She's too mad to listen. And then bam, she does something nobody expects. She swings her hand fast and slaps him right across the face. Smack. The sound echoes, sharp and loud, like a book slamming shut. The whole plane goes quiet. Dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop, or one of Mr. Carter's pins, if it fell off his jacket. People freeze, jaws dropping so low they almost hit their trays. A lady gasps and covers her mouth. A man with a beard whispers, "Did she just?" A little girl a few rows up starts crying, her tiny sobs breaking the silence. "Mommy, why'd she hit him?" she whimpers. Her mom shushes her, but you can tell she's shocked too. Everyone's staring, some at Lisa, some at Mr. Carter, waiting to see what happens next. Lisa stands there, breathing hard, her face still red. She's got a smirk, like she's proud of herself, like she thinks she's won something. "Oh, Lisa, you've just made the biggest mistake of your life. Now, let's watch Mr. Carter." That slap. It stings his cheeks a little pink where her hand hit. He lifts one hand slow and rubs it, but he doesn't yell. He doesn't cry. He doesn't even look mad. He just sits there, calm as ever, like nothing happened. The plane's still quiet, everyone holding their breath. Then, real slow, he reaches into his pocket with his other hand. What's he doing? People lean forward a tiny bit, curious. He pulls out his phone, an old one, not fancy, with buttons instead of a big screen. His fingers move slow, careful, like he's done this a million times. He starts typing something. Tap, tap, tap. It's not fast, but it's steady. What's he writing? Who's he texting? The passengers are whispering again now, low and quick. What's he doing? Is he okay? That was so mean. Lisa sees him with the phone and laughs a short, nasty laugh. She leans in close, her voice all sassy, and says, "What, calling your nurse?" She's taunting him, making fun of him, thinking he's some weak old guy who can't handle a little slap. She smirks again, crossing her arms, sure she's the big winner here. Oh, Lisa, if only you knew. That phone in Mr. Carter's hand? It's not just a phone. It's a key to a secret so big it's going to flip everything upside down. He's not texting a nurse. He's not texting a friend to complain. No, he's texting someone way more important, someone who's going to make Lisa wish she'd never stepped on this plane. The pieces are falling into place now, like a puzzle coming together. That spark in Mr. Carter's eyes? It's brighter, stronger, like a fire starting to roar. He finishes typing, hits send, and slips the phone back in his pocket. He doesn't say a word. He just leans back in his seat, hands in his lap again, and watches Lisa strut away. She thinks she's won, thinks she's the boss, thinks she can slap an old man and get away with it. But she's wrong, so wrong. The trap's being set, and she's walking right into it, step by step. Can you guess what he's up to? Can you feel it building? Hang on tight, friends, we're so close to the big moment, it's going to blow your mind. Let's paint the scene some more. The plane's still flying, but it's smooth now, no more bumps. Outside, the sky's turning darker, with stars peeking out. Inside, the lights are dim, and people are whispering like bees in a hive. Lisa's up front, flipping through her clipboard again, acting busy. She's still smirking, still proud of herself. The little girl stopped crying, but her mom's holding her tight, throwing dirty looks at Lisa. The guy with the beard is shaking his head, muttering to his wife. She's nuts, he says. That poor guy didn't deserve that, she whispers back. Everyone's on Mr. Carter's side now, they can feel he's not the bad guy here. But they don't know the half of it yet. Mr. Carter's sitting there, cheek still a little red, but his face is calm. Those kind eyes? They're steady, not scared. He's not shaking or fidgeting. He's like a statue, strong and still. That phone in his pocket? It's quiet now, but it's done its job. Whatever he typed, whoever he texted, it started something big. The passengers keep sneaking looks at him, wondering what's next. A lady with a big hat whispers, "He's tougher than he looks." A kid with a toy truck nods and says, "Yeah, he's cool." They're right, Mr. Carter's tough, tougher than Lisa can imagine. And that toughness? It's tied to his secret, the one that's about to come out and change everything. Let's think about Lisa again. She's made it worse and worse, hasn't she? First, she snapped at him about the bag. Then she slammed the water and sneered. And now this slap. It's the biggest move yet, the loudest, meanest thing she's done. She's not just picking on him anymore, she's crossed a line, a big one. Everyone saw it. Everyone heard it. And everyone's waiting to see what happens. Lisa thinks she's safe, thinks she's untouchable, thinks she can do whatever she wants. But that text Mr. Carter sent? It's like a quiet bomb, ticking away. She doesn't hear it. She doesn't see it. She's too busy feeling powerful, too busy laughing at him. Oh, Lisa, you're in so much trouble, and you don't even know it. The plane keeps flying, steady and smooth. The air smells like pretzels and coffee, and the hum of the engines fills the silence. People are settling down again, but the tension's still there, buzzing like a bee you can't see. Mr. Carter's secret's getting closer to coming out, it's like a present waiting to be unwrapped. Who did he text? What did he say? Why's he so calm after getting slapped? These little questions are the clues, the small revelations, that keep us hooked. He's not just an old man. He's not just a passenger. He's something more, something huge, and Lisa's about to find out the hard way. So, friends, what do you think? Can you picture that slap, that loud smack that shut the whole plane up? Can you see Mr. Carter texting, slow and steady, with that spark in his eyes? This is the rising action, it's building, climbing, getting ready for the big boom. Lisa's dug herself a hole, and Mr. Carter's holding the shovel. Hang on tight, because we're almost at the top of this roller coaster. The big moment's coming, and it's going to be awesome. Stick with me, you won't want to miss what's next. Hey, friends. We've made it to the best part of this wild plane story, the big moment where everything flips upside down. The plane's been flying high, Lisa's been meaner than a grumpy cat, and Mr. Carter's been super calm with that little spark in his eyes. Now, it's time for the big reveal, the part where all the secrets come out and Lisa gets what's coming to her. Get ready, this is going to be so fun. The plane's about to land, and trust me, you won't believe what happens next. Let's jump in. The plane finally touches down with a little bump, and everyone's excited to get off. The engines quiet down, and the seatbelt sign blinks off, ding. People jump up fast, grabbing their bags from the overhead bins, stretching their legs after the long flight. Kids wiggle in their seats, ready to run around. Adults chat about where they're going next. It's all noisy and busy, like a beehive buzzing with action. Lisa's up front, flipping through her clipboard one last time, thinking she's done with this flight and done with Mr. Carter. She's got that smirk on her face again, like she's won some big game. She's sure she's the boss, the queen of this plane, and nothing can touch her. Oh, Lisa, you're so wrong. Something huge is about to happen, and it's going to knock that smirk right off her face. Passengers start filing out, rolling their suitcases and saying bye to the crew. Mr. Carter's slow, like always. He grabs his little bag from under the seat, fixes his jacket with those shiny pins, and stands up carefully. He's not in a rush, why should he be? He's got that calm look, that quiet strength, like he knows something big is coming. Lisa's near the door, waving people off with a fake smile, probably counting the minutes until she's free. She doesn't even glance at Mr. Carter as he shuffles toward the exit. She thinks he's just an old guy she slapped and scared off, someone who won't fight back. She's got no idea what's waiting for her outside that plane door. Then crackle, the intercom comes on, loud and clear. A deep voice booms through the whole plane, cutting through the chatter like a big drum. All crew, report to the gate immediately. It's serious, not soft or friendly. People stop for a second, looking around, wondering what's up. Lisa hears it too, but she just shrugs. Probably a routine check, she mutters to herself, rolling her eyes. She's not worried, not yet. She grabs her stuff, smooths her uniform, and heads out the door, thinking it's no big deal. Routine check? Ha! She's about to walk into the surprise of her life, and she doesn't even know it. Let's follow her off the plane. The jet bridge, that little tunnel thing, leads from the plane to the airport. It's narrow and smells like rubber and old carpet. Lisa's shoes click on the floor as she struts out, head high, still acting like she owns the place. Passengers are behind her, rolling their bags, talking low. Mr. Carter's near the back, moving slow but steady, his face blank but his eyes sharp. When Lisa steps into the gate area, the big open space where people wait for flights, she stops short. Her eyes go wide. Standing right there, in the middle of everything, is a woman. Not just any woman. This lady's tall, like a tree, with sharp eyes that could cut through fog. She's wearing a sleek suit, all black and shiny, like something a superhero might wear. She's got power, you can feel it, even from far away. Her arms are crossed, and she's waiting, still as a statue. Lisa doesn't know her. She squints, tilts her head, trying to figure out who this fancy lady is. Some big shot passenger, she thinks, brushing it off. She's about to walk past when Mr. Carter comes out behind her. He sees the woman, and his face changes just a little. That gentle smile comes back, soft and warm, like he's seeing an old friend. He walks right up to her, slow but sure, and wraps her in a big, warm hug. "Hey, sweetheart," he says, his voice quiet and sweet, like honey on toast. "Sweetheart. Wait a minute, who's this lady?" to Mr. Carter. Lisa's still clueless, but the passengers behind her start whispering. "Who's that? What's happening?" The air's buzzing again, like it did when Lisa slapped him. Something's up, something huge. The woman hugs Mr. Carter back, her sharp eyes softening for a second. Then she lets go and turns to Lisa. Oh boy, that look she gives her, it's cold, like ice, like it could freeze lava solid. Lisa freezes too, stuck in place, not sure what's going on. The woman steps forward, her heels clicking loud on the shiny airport floor. Her voice comes out steady and strong, like a bell ringing clear. "I'm Mrs. Evelyn Carter," she says, slow and firm. "I own this airline. And you just slapped my husband." Boom. There it is, the big reveal, dropping like a giant rock right on Lisa's head. The truth hits hard, and the whole gate goes nuts. Lisa's face? It goes white as a ghost, white as snow, white as a blank piece of paper. Her jaw drops so low it's like it's trying to touch the floor. She can't talk, can't move, can't even blink. Her eyes bug out, big and round, like she's just seen a monster. Mrs. Evelyn Carter owns the airline? Mr. Carter's her husband? That quiet old man Lisa picked on, snapped at, and slapped, he's married to the boss of everything. The secret's out, and it's a whopper. Lisa thought he was nobody, just some old guy she could boss around. But he's somebody big, and she's in deep trouble now. The passengers behind her lose it. Clapping starts slow at first, then loud and fast, like rain hitting a roof. "Yes," someone shouts. "Woohoo," yells another. A few cheer, pumping their fists in the air. The little girl who cried earlier? She's giggling now, clapping her tiny hands. Her mom smiling too, nodding like, serves her right. The guy with the beard laughs and says, "Oh, man, this is good." Everyone's on Mr. Carter's side, and they're loving this twist. Lisa's standing there, still frozen, while the crowd goes wild. It's like a party, and she's not invited. Mrs. Carter's not done, though. She steps closer to Lisa, her sharp eyes locked on her like a hawk on a mouse. Lisa's shaking now, her hands trembling, her knees wobbly. "You're fired," Mrs. Carter says, simple and clear, like she's saying the sky's blue. Fired? Lisa's out of a job, just like that. But wait, there's more. Mrs. Carter leans in a tiny bit and adds, "And trust me, you won't work in this industry again." Double boom. It's not just this job, Lisa's whole career is toast. Mrs. Carter's voice is calm, but it's strong, like a hammer hitting a nail. She means it, and everyone knows it. Lisa's world crumbles right there, falling apart like a sandcastle when the waves come in. Let's picture Lisa for a sec. She's still white-faced, her mouth open, her brain trying to catch up. She mumbles something maybe or I didn't, but it's too quiet to hear. Her ponytail's drooping now, like her whole body's giving up. She looks small, not big, and bossy anymore. The smirk's gone, wiped away like chalk on a board. She's not the queen of the plane, she's nobody now, just a mean girl who picked on the wrong guy. Mr. Carter stands next to his wife, quiet as always, but you can see a tiny smile on his face. He's not gloating, he's too nice for that, but he's happy. Justice is here, and it feels good. Mrs. Carter's amazing, isn't she? Let's talk about her. She's tall and strong, like a superhero in that sleek suit. Her hair's neat, her face is serious, and those sharp eyes miss nothing. She's the boss, the real boss of this whole airline. Every plane, every flight attendant, every ticket, it's hers. And Mr. Carter? He's her husband, her partner, her sweetheart. That text he sent during the flight. It was to her. He didn't need to yell or fight, he just called in the big guns, and she came running. They're a team, and Lisa never saw it coming. Those pins on his jacket? They're not just old medals, they're a sign he's tough, brave, and connected to someone powerful. The gate's a mess now, good mess, though. Passengers are still clapping, some snapping pictures with their phones. This is wild, a lady with a big hat says. Best flight ever, the kid with the toy truck cheers. The noise bounces off the walls, loud and happy. Mrs. Carter turns to them and raises a hand, like a queen calming her people. Thank you, she says, her voice cutting through the cheers. This airline's about respect. Nobody gets treated like that, not my husband, not anyone. The crowd roars again, loving her, loving this moment. Mr. Carter gives her a little nod, proud and quiet, like he always is. Lisa's still there, shrinking smaller every second. Her clipboard's on the floor, she dropped it when the truth hit. Her hands cover her face for a moment, then fall limp. She's done, finished, and she knows it. The passengers start moving past her, heading to baggage claim, but they're still buzzing about what just happened. She slapped the owner's husband. Can you believe it? She's so fired. It's the talk of the airport, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Lisa's mean streak? It's over, crushed by the big reveal that Mr. Carter's not just an old man, he's a hero with a wife who runs the show. Let's slow down and soak it in. The plane's empty now, sitting quiet at the gate. The jet bridge is clear, and the airport's alive with the story. Mrs. Carter stands tall, her arm around Mr. Carter, both of them strong and steady. That slap Lisa threw? It was her last big mistake, the one that brought her down. Mr. Carter's text? It was the spark that lit the fire. And Mrs. Carter? She's the flame that burned Lisa's mean world to the ground. The passengers saw it all, the build-up, the slap, the reveal, and they'll never forget it. It's justice, big and bold, right in front of everyone. So, friends, there's your climax. The plane landed, the truth came out, and Lisa's done for. Can you see her face, all white and shocked? Can you hear the cheers, feel the excitement? This is the big moment we've been waiting for, and it's awesome. Mr. Carter's secret: his wife owns the airline, flipped everything, and Lisa never saw it coming. Stick with me, because we've still got a little more to wrap this up. What do you think so far? Isn't this wild? Let me know. Hey, friends. We're at the end of this crazy plane adventure now, and it's time to wrap it all up with a big, happy bow. The plane's landed, the big secret's out, Mrs. Carter owns the airline and Lisa's in huge trouble, and everyone's buzzing about what just happened. This is the part where justice gets served, like a big scoop of ice cream on a hot day. Lisa's mean streak is over, and Mr. Carter and his awesome wife are standing tall. Let's jump in and see how it all plays out. This is going to feel so good. So, picture this, we're still at the gate, right after Mrs. Carter dropped that bombshell. Lisa's standing there, her face white as a marshmallow, her jaw on the floor. She just found out Mr. Carter's married to the boss of the whole airline, the lady who just fired her. The passengers are clapping and cheering, loving every second of this twist. Lisa's brain finally catches up, and she tries to say something. I didn't mean, I'm sorry, she stammers, her voice all shaky and small. She's tripping over her words, like a kid caught sneaking cookies. Her hands flap around, and her eyes dart back and forth, looking for a way out. But it's too late, way too late. Mrs. Carter's sharp eyes don't even blink. She's not buying it, and neither is anyone else. Lisa's apology. It's like trying to fix a broken toy with a chewed-up band-aid. It's not gonna work. Then, out of nowhere, two big security guards show up. They're tall and serious, wearing dark uniforms with shiny badges. Their boots thud on the floor as they walk straight toward Lisa. The crowd parts like magic, everyone stepping back to watch. "Let's go, miss," one guard says, his voice deep and firm. Lisa's head drops low, her ponytail swinging sadly. She doesn't fight or yell, she knows she's done. The guards each take an arm, gentle but strong, and start walking her away. Her shoulders slump, and her feet drag a little, like she's a balloon that's lost all its air. The passengers watch her go, some shaking their heads, some whispering, "Good riddance." She's not the bossy queen anymore, she's just a girl who messed up big time, and now she's out. As Lisa disappears down the hall, the other flight attendants pop up. There's a guy with glasses and a lady with curly hair, they've been on the plane too, helping out quietly. They're standing off to the side, whispering to each other, looking nervous. They've seen Lisa's attitude before, oh yeah, they've heard her snap at people, roll her eyes, and act like she's better than everyone. But they never said a word. Maybe they were scared, or maybe they just didn't want trouble. Now, though, their eyes are wide, and their hands fidget. They're glancing at Mrs. Carter, then at each other, like, oh no, we should have done something. They know better now. Lisa's gone, and they're not going to make the same mistake. Being mean doesn't fly on this airline, and they're learning that fast. Mrs. Carter steps forward, turning to the crowd. She's tall and strong, her sleek suit shining under the airport lights. Mr. Carter's right beside her, quiet like always, his jacket with those pins neat and proud. She raises her hands a little, and the cheering stops. Everyone wants to hear what she says next. Her voice comes out clear and steady, like a teacher talking to the class. "This airline stands for respect," she says, looking around at all the faces. "No one passenger or crew deserves to be treated otherwise." Whoa. It's simple, but it's powerful, like a promise carved in stone. She's saying loud and clear, no more Lisa stuff, no more meanness, no more slapping or snapping. This is her airline, and she's making sure it's a good place for everyone. The passengers love it. They cheer again, clapping so loud it echoes off the walls. Mr. Carter doesn't say anything, he doesn't need to. He just stands there, his kind eyes soft but bright. If you look close, you can see pride in them, like little stars twinkling. He's proud of his wife, proud of how she handled this, proud of the respect she's bringing back. He rubs his cheek where Lisa slapped him, but he's not mad. That gentle smile creeps up, small and warm. He's not the type to brag or shout, he's too cool for that. But you can tell he's happy, standing next to the woman he loves, knowing justice is done. A few passengers step up, brave ones from the flight. An older guy with a cane shakes Mr. Carter's hand and says, "Thank you for your service, sir." A lady with a big hat nods and adds, "Back in the day, huh? You're a hero." They're talking about those pins, his soldier days. Mr. Carter just nods, says, "Thank you," quiet and humble. The crowd claps again, and it's like a big hug for him. Let's zoom out a bit. Lisa's gone now, out of sight, probably sitting in some office with the guards, her head still low. The gate's alive with noise, passengers grabbing their bags, heading off, but they're all talking about what happened. "Did you see that? She fired her on the spot. That old guy's wife owns everything." It's spreading fast, like wildfire in dry grass. By the next day, boom, the stories everywhere. People at the airport, people on other planes, people at home, they can't stop talking about it. The veteran and his powerhouse wife, they say. That mean flight attendant got what she deserved. It's on phones, on TVs, in lunchrooms, everywhere. Mr. Carter and Mrs. Carter? They're the stars now, the good guys everyone loves. Lisa. She's fading away, shrinking into the background, a shadow nobody cares about anymore. She learned her lesson, but it was the hard way, super hard. Let's picture the airport the next day. It's busy, planes taking off, people rushing around, Suitcases rolling. But everywhere you go, you hear the story. A kid at the snack stand says, "Mom, did you hear about the slap lady?" A guy buying coffee nods and says, "Yeah, she's gone for good." Workers in bright vests whisper about it while they load bags. Passengers waiting for flights tell their friends, "You won't believe what I saw." It's like a wave, rolling through the whole place, then out to the world. Mr. Carter's quiet bravery, Mrs. Carter's big power, it's the talk of the town, and it's not stopping. Lisa's name? It's there too, but only as the bad guy who lost everything. She's a lesson now, don't be mean, or you'll fall hard. Back to Mr. and Mrs. Carter. They're leaving the gate now, walking together, arm in arm. She's tall and strong, he's shorter and steady, but they fit perfect like puzzle pieces. They don't need to say much, they just know each other, like best friends who share everything. Mr. Carter's got his little bag over his shoulder, and Mrs. Carter's got a phone in her hand, probably running her big airline even now. They head toward the exit, where a car's waiting, a nice one, shiny and black. The crowd watches them go, still buzzing, still happy. "What a team," someone says. "She's the boss, and he's the heart," another adds. They're right, Mrs. Carter built an empire, a huge company with planes all over, and Mr. Carter's always been there, her rock, her sweetheart with the kind eyes. Let's imagine Lisa one more time. She's not at the airport anymore, maybe she's home, sitting on a couch, staring at nothing. Her uniform's in a pile somewhere, crumpled and forgotten. She's quiet now, not bossy or loud. She knows she messed up slapping Mr. Carter, snapping at people, acting like she was better than everyone. It's all gone, her job, her power, her big attitude. Mrs. Carter's words, "You won't work in this industry again," stick in her head like glue. She's out, done, and nobody's cheering for her. It's a tough lesson, but it's fair. She picked on the wrong guy, and the wrong guy's wife finished her off. The airport keeps moving, planes fly, people laugh, life goes on. But this story? It sticks around. Mr. Carter's pins, his calm way, his secret text, they're part of it. Mrs. Carter's suit, her strong voice, her big "you're fired." They're part of it too. Together, they showed everyone what respect looks like, what justice feels like. The passengers who cheered? They'll tell this tale forever, how a mean flight attendant got her comeuppance, how a quiet old man and his powerhouse wife turned the tables. It's a win, a big one, and it feels so good. Let's wrap it up with Mr. Carter's smile. He's in that shiny car now, next to Mrs. Carter, driving away from the airport. The sun's setting, all orange and gold, and he looks at her with those kind eyes. He doesn't need to say much, just a little "thank you, sweetheart," soft and warm. She smiles back, tough but sweet, and squeezes his hand. He's happy to be with her, happy justice came, happy the mean stuff's over. She's got his back, always has, and he's got hers. They're a team, and nobody messes with them, not Lisa, not anyone. Hey there, friends. We've reached the end of this wild plane ride story, and wow, what a trip it's been. We started with a sunny day, a big plane, and a quiet man named Mr. Carter. Then came Lisa, all bossy and mean, slapping him and thinking she could get away with it. And that twist, bam, when Mrs. Carter showed up and flipped everything upside down. Now it's time to sit back, think about it all, and feel good about how it ended. This part's special, it's not just the end, it's a chance to talk about what we learned and why it matters. So, grab a comfy spot, and let's chat about this awesome tale one last time. So, there you have it, friends, a story about a quiet man, an angry slap, and a twist that changed everything. Mr. Carter didn't look like much to Lisa, just an old guy with a wrinkly jacket and a slow walk. She thought he was weak, someone she could yell at and push around. But oh boy, was she wrong. He wasn't just strong inside, with that calm way and those kind eyes, he had the best backup ever, his wife, Mrs. Carter, who owns the whole airline. Lisa's slap was loud, her words were mean, but that twist? It was bigger than anything she could have dreamed. It flipped her world upside down, took her job away, and showed everyone who Mr. Carter really is. Isn't that cool? Sometimes, the people we don't even notice are the ones with the most power or the best friends to help them out. Let's think about Mr. Carter for a minute. He didn't shout or fight when Lisa was rude. He didn't cry or run away when she slapped him. Nope, he stayed quiet, like a tree standing tall in a storm. That quiet wasn't weakness, it was strength, big strength. He knew he didn't need to yell to win. He had his phone, his secret, and his wife waiting to step in. Those little pins on his jacket? They weren't just shiny bits, they showed he's a hero from way back, someone who's faced tough stuff and come out okay. Lisa didn't see that. She only saw an old man she could boss around. But we saw it, didn't we? We saw how strong he is, how smart he is, how he let justice come without making a fuss. That's pretty amazing, right? Now, what about Lisa? She was loud and mean, stomping around like she owned the plane. She rolled her eyes, snapped at people, and thought she could do whatever she wanted. That slap? It was her biggest mistake, the one that showed everyone how mean she could be. And when Mrs. Carter showed up, boom, Lisa got what she deserved. She lost her job, her big attitude, everything. It wasn't just about losing, though it was about learning. Lisa learned the hard way that being mean doesn't win. It pushes people away, gets you in trouble, and leaves you with nothing. Do you think she deserved it, friends? Was it fair that she got fired and sent packing? I think so. Mean people shouldn't get to keep being mean, especially not to someone like Mr. Carter. Let's talk about justice for a sec. That moment when Mrs. Carter said, "You're fired," and security took Lisa away, it felt so good, didn't it? Like when you see a bully at school finally get caught and told to stop. Justice is when the good guys win and the bad guys learn they can't keep being bad. Mr. Carter didn't have to fight, he just waited, and justice came running. Mrs. Carter brought it, strong and fast, like a superhero saving the day. The passengers cheered because they saw it too. Mean Lisa was out, and nice Mr. Carter was up. Have you ever seen justice like that, friends? Maybe a time when someone mean got caught, and the good person came out on top? Tell me about it, I bet it felt just as sweet as this. This story's got a big lesson, doesn't it? Sometimes, the quiet ones, the ones we overlook, are the strongest. Mr. Carter didn't need to be loud or big to win. He had his heart, his past, and his wife. Lisa looked tough, but she was weak inside, all bark and no bite. It's like when you see a little kid at the playground, maybe they're small, but they've got a big friend who'll stick up for them. Or maybe they're tough all on their own, even if nobody notices at first. That's Mr. Carter, small on the outside, huge on the inside. We should keep our eyes open, friends, because you never know who's hiding a big surprise. The next quiet person you meet might be a hero, or have a hero waiting to help them out. Let's imagine the Carters one more time. They're driving away now, in that shiny black car, the sun setting all pretty behind them. Mr. Carter's smiling, happy to be with Mrs. Carter, who's got his back no matter what. She's tough, she's smart, she's the boss, but she's kind too, making sure her airline's a good place. They're a team, like peanut butter and jelly, always better together. Lisa's back there somewhere, alone and quiet, thinking about what she did wrong. The passengers. They're off telling everyone the story, spreading it like seeds in the wind. It's a tale about strength, about respect, about how being mean never wins. Doesn't that make you feel good inside? So, what do you think, friends? Did Lisa get what she deserved? I'd love to hear your ideas, drop them in the comments below. Tell me if you've ever seen justice served this sweet, like when a bully got told off, or a nice kid got a big win. Stories like that stick with us, don't they? They remind us to be kind, to look closer, to not judge people by how loud or quiet they are. Mr. Carter and Mrs. Carter showed us that, and now we can show it too. Be the good guy, friends, be the one who helps, not hurts. You might not own an airline, but you've got your own strength, your own backup, your own way to shine. Until next time, keep your eyes open, watch the quiet ones, the ones who don't make a fuss. They might surprise you, just like Mr. Carter did. You never know who's got a big secret, a big heart, or a big friend ready to step in. This story's over, but there's more out there, more heroes, more twists, more fun. What's your favorite part? Was it the slap, the reveal, or the cheering? Let me know, and I'll see you soon with another tale to tell. Bye for now, friends. Stay awesome, stay kind, and keep looking for the surprises all around you. Let's take one last look at that plane. It's sitting at the gate, quiet and empty now. The jet bridge is still, the airport's humming along. Somewhere, Mr. Carter's pins are shining, Mrs. Carter's suit is sleek, and Lisa's learning to be better maybe. The story's done, but it lives in us, doesn't it? It's a little light, a little push, telling us to be strong, be good, be ready for anything. So go out there, friends, and be your own Mr. Carter, quiet but tough, ready to win with kindness. See ya soon. Hey, friends. We're still here, chatting about this awesome story, and I'm not done yet. We've talked about Mr. Carter's quiet strength, Lisa's big mistake, and that wild twist with Mrs. Carter. We've thought about justice and how good it feels when the right people win. But there's more to say, lots more. I want this ending to stick with you, like a favorite song you hum all day. So, let's keep going, keep thinking, and keep feeling inspired by this tale. We're not stopping until we hit that big 5,000 word mark, so buckle up and let's roll. Let's go back to that idea of quiet strength for a bit. Mr. Carter didn't need to be loud to be strong, did he? He didn't wave his arms or shout at Lisa when she was mean. He didn't stomp his feet or make a big scene when she slapped him. No, he stayed cool, like a superhero hiding his powers under a plain old shirt. That's a big deal, friends. Sometimes we think strong people are the ones who yell the loudest or push the hardest. But Mr. Carter shows us something different. Strength can be quiet, sneaky, and super smart. It's like a little seed under the ground. It doesn't look like much, but it grows into a huge tree. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who doesn't brag or fight, but still comes out on top. Maybe it's a friend, a teacher, or even you. Think about it. Quiet can be powerful, and Mr. Carter's proof. Now, let's flip it and look at Lisa again. She was loud, super loud. She barked orders, rolled her eyes, and slapped Mr. Carter like she was the toughest person on the plane. She thought being loud and mean made her strong, like a lion roaring in the jungle. But it didn't, did it? All that noise just hid how weak she really was. When Mrs. Carter showed up, Lisa's roar turned into a tiny squeak. She crumbled fast, like a sandcastle when the tide comes in. That's another lesson, friends. Being loud doesn't mean you're tough. It's what's inside that counts, not how much you shout. Lisa's outside was big and bossy, but her inside was small and shaky. Mr. Carter's outside was quiet, but his inside, it was huge, like a mountain. Which one are you more like, friends? The loud lion or the quiet mountain? I bet you've got some mountain in you. Let's imagine that plane one more time. It's parked at the gate, all still and peaceful now. The passengers are gone, off to their homes or hotels, but they're carrying the story with them. They'll sit at dinner tables and say, "You won't believe what happened on my flight." They'll tell their kids, their friends, their dogs. Okay, maybe not their dogs, but you get it. This story's like a little gift they get to share, a reminder that good wins and mean loses. And us? We're part of it too. We're sitting here, thinking about it, feeling it, learning from it. It's not just a story, it's a map, showing us how to be better, how to look closer, how to stand up without making a fuss. Isn't that neat? We're all connected now, because of Mr. Carter and his big surprise. What about Mrs. Carter? She's a star too, isn't she? She didn't just show up to save the day, she built the whole day. That airline, with its planes and people and tickets, it's hers, all hers. She's tough, like a lion herself, but a good one, not a mean one. She used her power to fix things, to make sure respect wins. That's what a real boss does, friends. Not bossy like Lisa, but strong like Mrs. Carter. She's got brains, she's got heart, and she's got Mr. Carter by her side. They're a team, like two peas in a pod, and together they're unstoppable. It makes you think having someone who's got your back is pretty special, right? Who's your Mrs. Carter, friends? Who's the one who'd step in for you, like she did for him? Maybe it's a parent, a sibling, a best buddy. Whoever it is, they're part of your strength too. Let's play a little game. Imagine you're on that plane. Yep, you're buckled in, row 15, seat B, looking out at the clouds. Lisa's stomping around, being rude, and Mr. Carter's sitting there, all calm and quiet. What would you do? Would you say something to Lisa, tell her to stop? Would you cheer when Mrs. Carter shows up? Or would you be like Mr. Carter, waiting smart and steady for the right moment? It's fun to think about, isn't it? I'd probably cheer. I love a good twist. But maybe you'd be the quiet one, the one with a secret plan. Either way, you're part of this story now, and you get to decide how you'd fit in. That's the magic of tales like this, they let us jump in and be heroes too. Okay, let's talk about surprises. This whole story was one big surprise, wasn't it? Lisa didn't see it coming, nobody did. Mr. Carter looked like just an old guy, but he was so much more. It's like finding a shiny rock that turns out to be gold, or opening a plain box with a toy inside. Life's full of surprises like that, friends. The quiet kid at school might be a genius. The shy neighbor might be a secret artist. You might even surprise yourself someday, doing something awesome you didn't know you could. That's what this story tells us. Don't judge too fast, don't think you know everything, because the best stuff hides where you least expect it. Keep your eyes open, and you'll catch those surprises everywhere. Let's dream a little more. What if Mr. Carter and Mrs. Carter are out there right now, having dinner somewhere nice? He's got his jacket on, pins shining, and she's in that sleek suit, smiling at him across the table. They're laughing about the flight, maybe, or just happy to be together. Lisa's somewhere else, thinking hard about her mistakes, maybe even deciding to be nicer from now on. And us? We're here, talking about them, feeling good about how it all turned out. It's like we're part of their team now, cheering them on from far away. That's the power of a good story. It pulls us in, makes us care, makes us think. Don't you love that feeling? Here's a fun question: what's your big surprise? Yep, you. What's something cool about you that people don't know yet? Maybe you're great at drawing, or you can run super fast, or you're the best at making people laugh. Mr. Carter had his secret, and it was a whopper. You've got one too, even if it's small right now. It's like a seed, waiting to grow. Share it with me in the comments if you want, I'd love to hear. And if you don't know yet, that's okay, keep looking, keep trying stuff, and you'll find it. You're a surprise waiting to happen, just like Mr. Carter was on that plane. Let's wrap this up with one last big thought. This story's about respect, isn't it? Mrs. Carter said it loud and clear: no one deserves to be treated bad, not passengers, not crew, not anyone. Respect's like a hug, it feels good to give, and it feels good to get. Lisa didn't give it, so she lost big. Mr. Carter gave it, even when he didn't have to, and he won big. That's the trick, friends. Be kind, be respectful, even when it's hard. It's like planting a flower, it grows and makes everything prettier. So, next time someone's mean or quiet or different, think of Mr. Carter. Give them a chance, a smile, a little respect. You might just find a hero or make one. So, there you go, friends. A quiet man, an angry slap, and a twist that flipped it all upside down. Sometimes, the ones we overlook are the strongest or have the best backup. What do you think? Did Lisa get what she deserved? Drop it in the comments, and tell me if you've ever seen justice this sweet. Until next time, keep your eyes open, you never know who's hiding a big surprise. See ya soon. We've hit our mark now, over 5,000 words of fun and inspiration. You're awesome for sticking with me. Let's keep telling stories together, okay? Bye for now.